Hey y'all, it's your girl Camille Tashe, your realtor friend in North Carolina, back with another video. As you can see by today's title, today we are talking about what happens when you get your first buyer under contract. So if you are a new real estate agent, an inspiring real estate agent, or maybe you're an agent who has been in the game for a while but don't have processes in place, stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my process from A to Z. Go ahead, get your notebook. If you don't already have it, get a pen, get your iPhone out, take notes because having a process truly helped me when working with buyers. So if you find that you're all over the place or don't really have a system or a process in place, then this video is for you. Okay guys, so I'm going to give y'all some tea, and y'all, I must really like y'all because I'm giving y'all the tea, okay? So anyways, when you first get your first client and they have expressed interest in working with you as their real estate agent, the very first thing that you will want to do is set up a buyer's consultation. I'm going to give you guys a preview of what I do in my buyer's consultation. I will insert a clip. But in that consultation, you want to find out a little bit more about that buyer. Will the buyer be purchasing a home alone, or will they be purchasing a home with someone? Who's going to be doing the financing? Have they done their pre-approval at this point already? And if so, with what lender? What is the terms of that program? Is it an FHA loan? Is it a conventional loan? Or is it a loan for an investment property? During your consultation, you also want to find out exactly what the buyer is looking for, what areas the buyer is looking to purchase a home in. Are they open to going maybe 20 miles out from that area? Is it a certain time frame? Or is it more important to have, 5 bedrooms in their next home? So you want to really dive deep and then get a list of their top 3 non-negotiable items on their list. Because chances are, while they may be able to find every single thing that they're looking for, chances are there may be 1 to 3 things that we absolutely cannot find. You also want to see if the buyer is open to townhomes, if they're open to condos, or is it a single family home. Just finding out what the buyer is looking for is what you want to go over during your initial consultation. You also want to find out what they're looking for in a real estate agent and if you can be able to serve that particular client. For example, if a client is looking for commercial property and you know that you are only skilled or versed in residential property or residential real estate, then it may be in your best interest to refer that client out to another realtor, or maybe to bring in another realtor to service that client to help guide you through that commercial deal. So you just really want to dive deep with what the buyer is looking for in that initial consultation. Once that consultation has been booked, I typically will send out a Google Calendar invite saying, congratulations, you have booked your buyer's consultation. I look forward to speaking with you on X date, right? So they will receive a Google Calendar invite. They will also receive an email, and then they will receive a reminder email maybe one day before or the day of, reminding them of the buyer's consultation. And you can have your buyer's consultation in person at your office if it's not someone that you know. You can have your buyer's consultation virtually via Zoom and the other video applications that are out there. But that is the very first step, because you do not want to waste your time just a person reaching out to you or a buyer reach out to you, which I have done this in my earlier part of my real estate career. Buyer reaches out, and then next thing you know, you're already out showing properties. Give or take, that does work in some circumstances where you may meet someone and then y'all go out immediately showing properties. But honestly, it's more professional for you to sit down and actually have a buyer's consultation. Maybe you may show them one property and then move on to say, hey, as a courtesy, I'm willing to show you this one property, but in order to move forward, we will need to sit down and have a buyer's consultation. So that is the very first step, is to have that consultation with that client. And the best thing that I have ever heard is when people have said that, would you as a client just go to your doctor's office without an appointment? No, your doctor is, professional. They're going to have either their assistant to book an appointment with you to get on their calendar. And so it just shows that you're professional and you're getting all of the right information, such as their address, their driver's license, just for your security when you're out on showings, and all of the info that you would actually need. During the consultation, I also go over the buyer agency agreement. After the consultation, I will invite them to become my client, let them know that, all that I can offer if they work with me exclusively as their agent. Because again, you don't want to be committed to someone who is not committed to you. There's a lot of different opinions out there. This is what I have found to be the most helpful in my real estate journey, is to get a signed buyer's agreement stating that that buyer is committed to working with me and I am committed to working with them. Because one thing about me, when I have a client, I'm going to go so hard for my client, and it would be very disheartening for me to put my all into working with this client and finding a home for this client and for them to go elsewhere. So you definitely, in my opinion, want to get your signed buyer agency agreement. And they don't have to sign at the initial consultation that you guys have, but afterwards, step number 2, after the consultation, buyers will receive a thank you email. Thank you so much for meeting with me. These are some of the things that we went over in our consultation. And then they will receive a DocuSign with the actual buyer agency agreement to complete. And it basically has like, if you are ready to move forward, then please, sign this buyer agency agreement. And then I prepare like a little letter with what all they're looking for, which I can show you guys as well. So that would be the next step. And I make it very clear in that email that in order to move forward with me, that I will need that signed buyer agency agreement. Step number 3 is, before we go show properties, the buyers are required to show proof of funds. And so they also receive a email template with this information that proof of funds is required prior to showings, whether that be cash. If the buyer is paying all cash, then I will need a bank statement showing that the cash is all there for their purchase. And if they are purchasing with any type of loan, then I will require a pre-approval letter. So one of the two, either a bank statement or a pre-approval letter to continue to move forward in the process. Step number 4 is showing properties. So in step number 4, we've already had our consultation. They've already have committed to working with me as their real estate agent. They have their proof of funds. So in our first showing together, we will show up to the property, make sure you have your printed MLS sheets, your seller disclosures, and anything interesting related to the property, so that that buyer has questions during the showings. It could be on your phone electronically, or you can have a printout. You are prepared as an agent to answer those questions and present your local knowledge. Some agents also like to do a quick CMA of that neighborhood prior to going out. Sometimes I do that if I think that the home is going to go quickly. Otherwise, I wait until they say they are ready to prepare an offer before I run comps on that particular address. During the showing, you just want to get an overall feel. You want to refer back to their list that they provided during the consultation and say, hey, these are the things that you expressed that you were interested in a home. This home has, most of the qualities that you're looking for. Are you ready to submit an offer? That sort of thing. The other thing that you can do prior to the showings is have buyers to actually ride by the neighborhood, or actually look up on a Google map a preview of the neighborhood, because what I found is, even though the house can have all the bells and whistles, location matters so much. And I've had so many buyers where we would ride out to a property and automatically, before we even get into the house, they will not like the feel of the neighborhood or just the overall location of the home. Maybe it's too close to the interstate, road noise, or maybe it's just right off of a double lane road and it's just so noisy where school buses are coming by, not actually in a neighborhood. So you can have your buyers to actually do a drive-by before actually showing the house, just to make sure that they are comfortable with that area that they will be purchasing a home in. So once we do the showings, if they want to submit an offer or move forward with submitting an offer, I go back to my office. I will run comps. I will make sure that I pull all the property disclosures if I have not already. You want to make sure that if that home has a septic system, that you check for a septic permit with the county if it's not listed within your local multiple listing service. You want to check for flood zones. Make sure you read through all the seller disclosures. If the property is subject to any HOA, you want to check the HOA rules, especially if a buyer has expressed that they are looking for a home where they can have, their 3 dogs or their horse or build a swimming pool. You just want to make sure that the HOA guidelines is in tip-top shape and that buyer is able to do all of those things that they will want to do in their new home. A disclaimer: I am speaking from being a real estate agent in North Carolina, but I'm sure that this same information applies to other states as well in some shape, form, or fashion. Once I have done my property research of the home, including the age of the roof, the HVAC systems, just as much information that I can possibly gather from this home, I make sure that my buyer has all of this information, including the comparable properties in the neighborhood. I generally look within a quarter mile or so. If you're not able to find comps within that specific subdivision, of course you can go out half a mile, 0.75 of a mile, or 1 mile, what have you. And then once I have run my comps and I have all the information, I usually will email this information over to my buyers and send the disclosures over via DocuSign for my buyer to sign. And then we will work to prepare an offer. So preparing the offer. When you are preparing the offer, of course, the comps and what homes have sold over, what I like to do is look at the previous property, all of the comps, see what the list to sell price was. So sometimes that could be 101%, 103%. I take that average and I present that information to my client and say, hey buyer, the home that you're looking at, in order for us to have a competitive offer, most of these homes in this neighborhood have sold at 102%, just giving them that information. And so in order to be competitive, you may want to consider an offer price at this 102% or above. And then we discuss earnest money deposits, due diligence, and all of that. Once all of that is good to go in terms of what our offer will be, I'll go ahead and submit that over to the listing agent. You definitely want to be in touch with that listing agent as soon as possible, letting them know that they have an offer on the way, and just give like a courtesy call and let them know we love the opportunity to work with the agent. We have presented a very strong offer. Developing rapport with the listing agent. After you have submitted an offer, say for example, that offer does not get accepted, it's okay. It's okay. Not every offer is going to get accepted, but you definitely want to call your client, let them know of the news, and let them know, to stay encouraged. And we will just reassure them that they will find a home and the search continues. However, if the offer is accepted, what I like to do is send another gift. Let them know, congratulations on getting your offer accepted. Maybe you can treat your client out for a Starbucks coffee or something like that, or just some nice treats, some cookies, like offer accepted, or show up with balloons at their job. I've heard an agent doing that before. Just something cute, to let them know that, this is a great time for them. I'm sure, the buyer will be very excited and thrilled to have just a little small gift from their agent. So this is another time to give a little gift to your client when you have officially went under contract. After you go under contract, this is when the real work starts for agents, at least. Buyers are chilling while agents are doing all the work. So when you're under contract, depending on your inspection period, you definitely want to encourage your buyer to get all inspections that may apply to that home, just because you rather be safe than sorry, right? And the buyer won't be able to say, well, oh, my agent said that inspection I probably shouldn't do. Well, you're not most likely, as a real estate agent, you're probably not versed or a professional in electrical work or the roof. And so a roof may look good, but it may have a little hole or a small leak that you may not be privy to. So I wouldn't go giving advice on different parts of the house, telling a buyer that they shouldn't get a certain inspection. Definitely encourage your buyer to get all inspections that relate to that home. just so they have it for peace of mind and for your peace of mind as well, if they have the funds or means to do so. And so during that inspection period, you want to make sure that you are scheduling contractors ASAP, because depending on how long that inspection period is, sometimes it takes a while for a contractor to get out there. You just want to make sure that you are scheduling all of your inspections, all of your contractors within that period, so that your buyer's earnest money is not at risk. State of North Carolina, once again. Once you do all of that and you get through the inspection period, hopefully everything goes well. But if it don't, you will negotiate any and all repairs with the sellers. You definitely hit on the big ticket items. Encourage your buyer not to worry about cosmetic things like carpet. I mean, unless the carpet is just horrible. But usually when negotiating inspections, instead of the seller actually doing the repairs, I have personally found it better to get a credit for the repair in lieu of the repairs actually being done by the seller. That way the buyer can get whatever contractor they want to get for fixing the repairs, or they can have that money to apply to their closing costs. It's just easier for everyone involved in the process, buyer, seller, and both agents. And so after that, make sure that you are staying in touch with your buyer the entire time. Just because you guys are under contract do not mean that you forget about them. Schedule weekly calls with that buyer. Let them know where you are. Let them have that opportunity to ask any questions that they may have. Reassure them, remind them of all the appointments coming up, what's coming up next, and things of that nature. And so I found that to also be really helpful, to have just weekly update calls with your buyer, letting them know on the progress of the home and closing. If you think that closing will be delayed, what to prepare for, reminding them not to open up any credit cards, all the things. Just stay in touch with your buyer. And then finally, you will hopefully have received your appraisal back, and hopefully everything is good with that, to move on to closing, where you will have your final walkthrough. Final walkthroughs are usually like the day before closing or the day of closing. And then finally, closing day. You show up with your buyer, and your buyer is going to sign a bunch of paperwork. So you definitely want to be there for support if you can. If not, have someone from your team there just as a support person. Buyers, especially if this is their first home, is probably going to be really nervous and really look to their agent to be there as a support person. This is another opportunity where you can just thank the client, provide them with their closing gifts. And that pretty much sums up what I do during my buyer process. And then after the fact, I send them a text and just say thank you so much for working with me, and if you don't mind to complete a review of your experience. You can also send this via mail or a letter, with a cute little picture of you guys. And then you can also set in your calendar, because you don't want to forget about your clients after you have closed, but you want to set their home anniversary date, any like cool things that connected you both with one another. Maybe you found out their birthday along the way, or their kid's name, or their partner's name, or just like a favorite sports team that they like, or maybe they love dancing. Just any little thing. You just want to continue to check in with that client, I'd say every quarter or so, letting them know you're here for their real estate needs, and just ask them like how everything is going. If they have any new projects they're working on, just let them know that you can be a source. That is what I do for my entire buyer's process. I hope that I did not forget anything, because I definitely did not have my notes during this video. I'm just going off the top of my head of what I typically do. If you're a new agent or an inspiring real estate agent, comment below. Let me know if you found this video helpful, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If there's anything else that you want to know as a new or an inspiring agent, definitely drop it down in the comment section below, and I will do my best to make a video on that for you guys. But until next time, I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.